Party boats galore here on Lake Washington, and again all jockeying for position, trying to get themselves close to the action, but they cannot get any closer than the log boom, and obviously there are already boats tied up to the log boom, and in fact in some cases to get that reservation, you've got to sign up a long time in advance to get out there and get that ringside seat.
Yeah, there's only so many, and I don't know how much it is per foot, but if you notice, most boats are tied back first because it's pretty expensive to have those boats tied up there.
Well, just a spectacular day here on Lake Washington with Mount Rainier in the background and all the pleasure craft, and then we've got the fastest things on water that are racing for all these folks, and some of the fastest in the air performing overhead. And you know, while the boats have changed, and certainly the drivers have, and the technology in those aircraft have changed, there's only a couple of things that really haven't changed. One is this beautiful part of the country we call the Pacific Northwest, and that we call the Stan Sayers Pits, and that we love about Lake Washington, and a great summer day here in the Northwest. One of the other things that hasn't changed is this tradition we have called Seafair. And one of the people most readily identifiable with that tradition is one Pat O'Day. This is his 40th consecutive Seafair here at Lake Washington as a broadcaster, and we thought it only fitting to honor Pat O'Day on this day. A wise man once wrote these words: "We take risks that defy logic and common sense. The chance of failure always looms large. Yet some of us are genetically wired to behave this way. We feel compelled to try the untried and test the unknown." Those words could describe the commitment made by these hydro team owners, or the life and death risks taken by the drivers of these water-bound rocket sleds. But they were actually words written by our own master wordsmith and resident legend, Pat O'Day, in the preface to his wonderful book, It Was All Just Rock and Roll. And they perfectly describe our friend as he celebrates his 40th consecutive year of broadcasting the Unlimiteds at Seafair.
He jumped it. I'm afraid he jumped it again. And here on the outside comes Jeff Bernard, the rookie.
Pat began his reign of 4 decades as the voice of Seafair with the likes of Ole Bardal, Miroslovac, and the great Bill Munsey. His rise to prominence mirrored that of the uncompromising owner of the red and gold beer wagon, Bernie Little. From Dean Chenoweth to Jim Kropfeld to Chip Hanauer and Dave Villwock, Pat O'Day is the master of bringing their races, their exploits, their courage to life through radio.
Side by side, coming down to the line. It's going to be as close as the next minute.
Rookie's got it. Pat not only knew the drivers and the owners, he was one. He helped put the first turbine-powered hydroplane on the water in 1972. Almost a decade later, his Miss KYYX boasted the sport's first female driver, Brenda Jones. But more than hydro broadcaster or team leader, Pat O'Day is our eternal reminder of Seattle's good times. From raucous summer weekends on the water to the rise of the rock and roll generation, this son of a fundamentalist preacher has spent his life ministering to our need for having fun. While he counted among his friends the greatest rock and roll stars of the day, names like Elvis Presley, Mick Jagger, and the incomparable Jimi Hendrix, Pat O'Day was also our buddy, inviting us to join him every day in experiencing the best music of the time. And once a year, to live through him the excitement, the danger, and the spectacle of Seafair's Thunderboat Sunday. He once said, "At its best and most exciting, a hydroplane race is a noisy rock festival with piston engines." And who would know better? At its best, the summer tradition we call Seafair would not be complete without the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer with the need for speed in his blood. Pat wrote, "Sometimes as we pursue our dreams, we escape the realm of the possible. We gamble on dreams we have no right to assume will come true." The self-described luckiest man on earth has been living one of those dreams for the last 40 years, and we, his fans, are all the luckier for it. And Patrick, I hope you didn't mind if we took a little license there in talking about you today on a day that we celebrate so many other great things about the Northwest. Today, my friend, we also celebrate you.
Pat O'Day is speechless. Thank you.
A first.
That's a first. To our whole broadcast team, I just love working with you. You know how much I love this event, but this is over the top. I'm very proud. I'm the luckiest man on earth, I believe.
Well, Michael, you get to sit with him out there. And Chip, you have been around this sport for so long. To just listen to that man wax poetic about every day, it makes every race, every lap, sound like it's the most exciting thing yet to happen.
I remember the first day Pat O'Day interviewed me, and I thought I really had arrived as an unlimited hydroplane driver because Pat O'Day sought me out for an interview, and I still get excited when I see him now.
I do, too. I can't tell you how much this gentleman has been a help to me. I've been in this business now a little while, but I cannot hold a candle to what you have done. And I think all of us who are in this business, Pat, think of you that way. And that's why we're so darn pleased to have you with us here on KIRO 7.
I'm a kid from Tacoma and Bremerton and Seattle whose dreams all came true. And what a dream this is today. All I can say is thank you. I'm humbled and delighted.
You know, Pat, for 36 years, I've sat down on this end of the tower and have watched you for all those 36 years, saying just a few because we've had a chance to do them together. And I always thought, you know, it would be kind of neat if the guy on the north end of the tower and the guy on the south end of the tower had a chance to just do one of these together. And it's been fun for me too, pal.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mike, and thank all of you. And I guess the only message is every kid out there peering through the fence at the hydroplanes and the broadcast, you've got your dreams, pursue them.
That's
Patrick,
for sure.
we will have many more opportunities to hear from you this afternoon. Thank you, and thank you for all you've done for 40 consecutive years.
And now, a driver profile brought to you by Papa Murphy's.
A boat racer since the age of 9, Greg Hopp was named Unlimited Rookie of the Year in 1999. After his father and boat co-owner stepped down as co-driver, Greg raced his own way to 3 straight Unlimited Lights High Point Championships. In addition to driving unlimited boats, he also drove one of the top Unlimited Lights. Greg Hopp would like nothing better than to use those racing skills to capture the 2006 Chevrolet Cup.
Well, it is time for all the marbles, the Unlimited Lights final. And they just can't wait. They are racing out of the pits to get onto the course here on Lake Washington. And there is but one storyline. The winner takes all. This is for the championship for the Unlimited Lights at the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair.
The Unlimited Lights Graham Trucking Cup is brought to you by Mike's Hard Lemonade. Cold, hard, refreshing. And it's presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking. Drivers wanted at grahamtrucking.com.
And here we'll take a look at our list. There are 8 boats on the water, led by Mike's Hard Lemonade, the Red Hot, the Shoreline Sign Tropical Tam, MAACO of Bremerton, Critical Logic, the Miss Boat Electric, WYATTS watches Power Punch, Graham Real Ventures, and the alternate boat will be the Graham Trucking boat. If one of those 8 can't get started, the Graham Trucking will be ready to go in. We've got about 3.5 minutes before we go racing. There's going to be a lot of boats stirring things up out there on the water, so let's get right to it. Tell you about the boats and those drivers. Quite simply, Mike, the points leader, Mike's Hard Lemonade, Greg Hopp.
Without a doubt, but Greg has seen some things on this race course today he hasn't seen throughout the entire season so far, and he's got to be thinking about several people he didn't think would be factors today.
Guard, you've been down there in the pits. Just what are they thinking in the Mike's Hard Lemonade camp?
Well, they're excited to get going. It's so funny. I was down here on one of the docks, and I was looking down, and they look like a bunch of racehorses. You got 8 boats ready to go, obviously on the water now, but Mike's Hard Lemonade, they like their chances, and you know what? They're running pretty well today.
The sponsons are pawing at the dirt right now like a horse. The Red Hot with Mike Webster at the controls, Chip.
Mike desperately wants to be an unlimited hydroplane driver. I know one team is actually watching him, so he's got to perform well here if he wants to be an unlimited driver.
The UL4 is the Shoreline Sign with Brian Richards at the controls. He's got a second-place finish already.
And he's had some pretty good starts. I think he could be a factor at the start-finish line when it all gets going, but I don't know if he'll be a factor when it all comes to an end.
The MAACO boat from Bremerton, Al Karsten, won a race yesterday without his tail feathers. I think he can be competitive. What do you think, Chip?
Al Karstensen, if he can get that boat inside the Mike's Lemonade and be at the start line on time, I think he can win this.
The UL-14 boat, the Critical Logic boat with Paul Becker at the controls, a fourth and a third. He'd like nothing better than a win.
This has been a boat that's been a treat to watch run. This is a boat that's too old, shouldn't even be out there if you look at it on paper, but by golly, they've made it competitive.
You know, they don't run this race on paper. I learned that. Miss Boat Electric, Michael Flaherty has a first and a second.
Michael Flaherty, like Al Carstensen, if he can get inside of Mike's Hard Lemonade, he also can win this race.
The U-83, Will Muncie at the controls. Not a great weekend so far, but he'd sure like to win for Wyatt's watches.
This boat's too small to be a winner out here, unfortunately, but I'll tell you what, Will Muncie has driven it as well as anybody's driven anybody's boat today.
Bill Rocky, the little boat that could.
That's right, Steve. He's got a fan club. If nothing else, they were waving towels. His crew, Will was waving a towel at all the crowd down here. He's got about 200 people down here that are really rooting for him on the beach.
And finally, the X-Man, Vince Zadaro in the Graham Reel Ventures.
They call him Mr. Excitement. I have to admit, I really like this guy because he can pull off some great starts or he can be over.
All right, as we get them set, as they come getting close to scoring up and coming down the backstretch inside of a minute, once again, we bring in the voice of the Unlimited Lights, calling today the Graham Trucking Cup at Seafair, John Lynch.
Thank you, Steve. A great field for this final here at Seattle, a race that all the drivers look forward to. Somebody's going to win it, but it's a real feather in the cap because most of the teams are from here, but we do have a team from as far away as Reading, Pennsylvania, trying to pull a victory here today as well. Vince Zadaro looks like he'll go for lane number 1 with Paul Becker next to him. We have way up ahead on the far outside is Brian Richards. That is in that blue boat, the UL4. Al Carstensen's going to be in the middle of the field. We see Michael Flaherty zipping through there. He's going to wind up on about lane 3. We're down to 10 seconds to go till the start. The X-Man is on the inside, but he might be a bit behind at the start. Then again, he may time it right. Here's Brian Richards right on the outside. It's going to be close. Everybody's on time. Brian Richards breaks the clock, but Paul Becker on the inside, Michael Flaherty in the middle, Al Carstensen on the center of the stage. He is all 3 wide going into turn number 1.
Very crowded in there, but everybody's respecting each other, giving themselves enough racing room. I think they're going to be side by side when they get to the next
And
corner.
look who is not there. Greg Hopp is not there. Vince Zadaro on the inside. Then it is Paul Becker, but it's Michael Flaherty down the backstretch. In the Powerboats Northwest presents Miss Boat Electric. Flaherty in front, and Paul Becker is in third. It's Al Carstensen in second, as Chip called it. Al Carstensen going after Michael Flaherty. Brian Richards is going dead in the water. Now he's getting it going again, and the Shoreline sign awning tropical tans. At the end of 1, Michael Flaherty on the inside. Al Carstensen in second position. It's Michael Flaherty at the line, and the Miss Boat Electric in front with Al Carstensen second.
Jerry Hopp's got to be shaking his head going, how did this happen?
Vince Zadaro is in third. Craig Hopp is in fourth. Paul Becker is in fifth. It's a long haul with only 2 laps to go for Craig Hopp in the Mike's Hard Lemonade. But if anybody can pull it off, that team can. Michael Flaherty hits the exit pin for the run down the backstretch in the Miss Boat Electric. Michael Flaherty won his first race a year ago. He won his third race this year, trying for his first ever victory in Seattle. A couple of years ago, this boat and Jerry Hopp had a great battle. George Woods came up second. Michael and Jerry Hopp was the winner. This time around, it's Michael Flaherty trying to pull the win, and he's got open water between him and Al Carstensen. As you see there on the overhead shot, it's Michael Flaherty with the 2 rooster tail advantage over Al Carstensen. Back to Vince Zadaro in third, but Craig Hopp moving up and challenging in fourth.
Greg Hopp, I think, he's got a lot of boat speed. He can maybe get up to third, but I think that's the best he's going to do in the Mike Hard Lemonade. I tell you, the only thing that can stop Michael Flaherty now is a mechanical failure, and he's hearing all kinds of bad things right now.
Michael Flaherty into turn number 1 with 3 rooster tails back to Al Carstensen. Then it's Craig Hopp is taking over third, and the Mike's Hard Lemonade back in fourth is now Vince Zadaro. So down the backstretch, it is all Michael Flaherty, and the Miss Boat Electric halfway through the backstretch as he heads towards the final turn. Michael Flaherty with the advantage. Al Carstensen in second. Craig Hopp back in third, but he's still 2 rooster tails behind behind Al. He's not going to be able to catch up to second place. Last turn, it's Al. Make that Michael Flaherty, and the Boat Electric hits the exit pin for the run down to the start-finish line. It's going to be a UL-72 victory. Michael Flaherty, Powerboats Northwest presents Miss Boat Electric, takes the win of the Graham Trucking Cup at Seafair. Second place, it'll be Al Karstensen, the MAACO of Bremerton entry. Al Karstensen with his best ever finish in unlimited lights racing right there. And in third, Greg Hopp, the Mike's Hard Lemonade. Happy Go Lucky. He takes third. Coming on for fourth place in the Graham Real Ventures, it's Vince Sodaro, slowing down quite a bit as he crosses the line, but he does get over the line. Vince Sodaro there in that all black all the time UL 929. The fifth place finisher in the Grand Old Lady of the Fleet, Paul Becker in the UL 14 Miss Critical Logic. Then it's a battle for sixth place, Will Muncie on the inside, Mike Webster on the outside. It's going to be Will Muncie in the Power Punch, edging Mike Webster in the Red Hot as we finish the Graham Trucking Cup at Seafair.
Well, I told you that I thought those two boats could win, but I didn't think they could win from the outside. Jerry Hopp, I didn't quite see him at the start. Was he behind at the start, John?
He was behind. It looked like he was hung up back in rooster tail spray a little bit, and it was so tight through there. But we had 1, 2, 3, and 4 across, and you couldn't even see Greg Hopp going through that first turn. He was back in fifth place at the start.
What we saw, too, is an amazing fight for that inside that took place very early. You looked at me and smiled as they were crawling over each other's decks, fighting for that inside. And I guess Jerry Hopp just came up the loser in that. When it was all settled, there was no place for him to go.
It's just tough racing out there, unlimited light style. We saw it last year when Kevin Aylesworth made a move in between boats to get into the position he wanted to be. We see it here again, but this time a walkover, a going-away victory for Michael Flaherty. We know that's a very good boat, and we know that Michael Flaherty is an improving driver, but to win by that much distance over the field, that was quite an accomplishment for that UL 72 team from Impact Racing.
And the Boat Electric boat is now coming into the slip to the cheers of the crew, pulling him close. And with a big wave to the crowd, as a champion should, Michael Flaherty climbs out of the boat, the winner. And really kind of a big surprise as we talk about a lot of other drivers today, most notably Greg Hopp in the unlimited lights, maybe even Al Karstensen. But Gard Swanson is with your winner today, Michael Flaherty.
Michael, what a run for you. I'll get that helmet off so we can see you smiling. Man, what a run for you guys today. Pretty happy about that? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Tell me about your race.
Hey, let me get this thing off of here.
Hey, can we have some scissors and cut this helmet off? We got a happy driver right here.
No, we can't afford to replace that helmet.
All right, what a run for you, huh?
Yeah, that was it. Lucked out and got, ended up in lane 3, but gave her all she got.
Man, I'll tell you what, you got 8 boats in that thing, and it was just choppy out there. Competition was running high, and you took it.
Well, that was tough. I knew Greg was going to be right there with me, and it's just everything we got. Wanted to put on a show for Boat Electric and Power Boats Northwest. The crowd, the fans, this is it. General Motors Cup. Thanks, guys.
Take me back to the beginning. Was that where you won it?
I don't know. I think I was third for the start, coming around for the corner, and it was just everybody's full on and hope you make it. And managed to end up out of the first corner, I think, ahead, and I don't know where anybody else was from there.
So really, it was the start. You got out a little bit slow. Maybe you take third, and then all of a sudden you push up and you take the checkered flag.
That's it. Make it up in the corners.
Dream come true for you?
This is it. Wanted this one.
Can I throw you in the water right now?
Almost.
All right. Guys, back to you.
Gard, thanks very much. Congratulations to Michael Flaherty. Just a great race run from a good position on the course. And as he said, I didn't see where the other guys were, Chip, and the reason was they were all behind him.
That also tells me that he was concentrated. My father told me when I was a kid, it's between you and the start line. Ignore everybody else, and that tells me that's what he was doing.
Well, he's a champion of the Graham Trucking Cup at Seafair. John Lynch, again, thank you. The voice of the Unlimited Hydroplanes. Great job one more time.
Great to be here, Steve. Always enjoy it. And the Unlimited Lights come through with another quality final. We look forward to more racing action coming up shortly.
We sure do. The Unlimited's yet to come. The Chevrolet Cup at Seafair.
The Unlimited Lights Graham Trucking Cup has been brought to you by Mike's Hard Lemonade. Cold, hard, refreshing.